Peru is the center of origin of potato, the third most important staple food on Earth.
Todo es papa. Con la papa nosotros vivimos, ¿no? Y por eso lo que seguimos conservando, no dejamos.
Yet potatoes face ever greater challenges, from disease to global warming.
Y esto está trayendo como consecuencia pérdidas tanto de variedades como también de rendimiento.
A promise may preserve what has not yet been lost.
These are incredibly important places for us, and if we can't serve these communities and help them to survive over the next 50 to 100 years, we're not doing our job.
Mi nombre es Elmer Chávez Pérez, soy de la comunidad campesina de Vista Alegre y vengo trabajando hace más de 25 años conservando las papas nativas.
Over millennia, the ancestors of Elmer and his wife Esperanza Chávez domesticated toxic wild potatoes into edible crops and adapted them to the diverse climates of the Andes. This produced thousands of unique varieties with different shapes, colors and tastes. Today, the couple is a member of AGUAPAN, a Peruvian farmers association determined to protect this natural legacy because it is threatened.
En el cambio climático también hemos ya perdido, las papas más antiguas y ya no lo tenemos. Hay años que cae hielo, hay años que cae granizada. Hay años que también bastante la rancha, todo eso lo ataca, ¿no? Y estoy tratando de buscar en los socios, pero no les consigo. Sí, el cambio climático bastante está afectando por estos cambios. Por ejemplo, estas son las enfermedades, ¿ve? Que atacan. Mira. Eso es lo que está poniendo las tubérculos. En una mata solamente hemos conseguido 3 papas sanitas.
Not only smallholders depend on native potatoes, they guarantee the future of agriculture worldwide. Today, food production heavily relies on a handful of genetically narrow crops, which produce high yields but are susceptible to pest and disease. To change that, Vania Acevedo from the International Potato Center, or CIP, heads the center's gene bank and manages the world's largest collection of native potatoes and other Andean roots and tuber crops.
In the case of the crops that we conserve here, they are very resilient crops. They consume much less water than many of the other crops that we eat so much. They have a great potential to be more adapted to the new environment that we are facing. So by conserving these biodiversity, studying it and understanding the traits that these materials have is how we allow any scientist in the world to develop new varieties adapted to the challenges of their countries.
Germplasm from the gene bank is used in breeding programs worldwide. In Peru alone, the center released 34 disease-resilient varieties that increased yields by 10%. To keep developing better crops, Acevedo and her team actively support farming communities to preserve their diversity with modern science.
We know that traditional farmers depend on this diversity not only as food but also as part of their culture. And these same challenges lead them to lose this diversity in their fields. And by conserving them, here is a guarantee that whenever that happens, we can give it back to them, repatriate samples of these diversities, so they can continue having these varieties that are with their families for hundreds of years.
It is a pledge that applies to farmers in Peru, as it does to nations worldwide. Today, potatoes are grown globally, with 1 billion people depending on them for food. To honor this legacy, May 30th has been designated as International Day of Potato. Here in Lima, it is celebrated by farmers and dignitaries, including Simon Heck, the Director General of CIP.
We are developing resilient potato varieties that are capable of better meeting the challenges of climate change and responding to new consumer demand.
Elmer Chávez also came to sell his harvest. With more than 100 potato guardians, CIP develops value chains for native potatoes. They have entered small but growing markets from gastronomy to delicacy foods, which help to keep traditional farming practices alive.
For us, biodiversity needs to exist in the field as an agricultural practice. It needs to exist in the markets. Consumers need to want it and to pay for it. That's when biodiversity works. Our role as CIP is to back that up with scientific research, to deepen the understanding and to explore new opportunities.
And it is important to raise public awareness about native potatoes. Keeping this treasure alive is a national duty for Chávez.
Igual deben continuar los que vienen, las personas, ¿no? Aunque no mi hijo, pero los demás, los vecinos de la comunidad, nunca debería de perderse las variedades de papa. Sí.
Back in Vista Alegre, the Chávez have visitors from the Gene Bank. Charlotte Lusty is a Gene Bank coordinator for CGIAR, a global partnership of centers such as CIP engaged in the research for food security. For Lusty, farmers like Chávez are at the center of this work.
In 100 years' time, our food systems will be based on other crops and other varieties, and that is a certainty, because what we're certain of is change. If we don't have those original resources that were in the fields and that were the basis of our agriculture for the last 10,000 years, if we don't keep those resources, if we don't have them available, we are completely eradicating the options we can have to build that future system.
Yo soy el hijo de un campesino. Yo soy el hijo de un campesino. Pico al hombro, me voy a trabajar para cultivar papas nativas.
In Andean mythology, potatoes are a gift from Pachamama, the Earth Mother, who bestowed each variety with specific qualities to serve the needs of the people. In return, she demanded respect for the land and its natural cycles. Still today, this promise is kept for all of us by farmers in the high Andes and other places of origin, the true custodians of life.
El trabajo de guardián de la papa es conservar y mantener, adquirir más semillas, hacer intercambios. No te puedes cansar de comer con esas variedades de papa. Conservamos por el sabor más que nada, diferentes sabores cada variedad.